Hi, I'm Mike Brofman, and welcome to Song and Wine, Brooklyn Art Song Society's internet show where we discuss the music coming up with various singers. Today we are going to be discussing Britannica Part 2 in Memoriam, which is our tribute to the British composers who fought and in some cases died in World War I. The concert at the Old Stone House at 7:30 p.m. Friday, November 6th. I'm joined today with baritone Jarrett Ott, who's one of a trio of singers, the other two being baritone John Moore and tenor Dominic Armstrong and the pianist Mirza Yoma and myself. Today the wine is provided, as always, by Waterfront Wines, our favorite wine store in all of Brooklyn. It's specializes in products made with local traditions and sustainability. It's in Brooklyn Heights on 360 Furman Street. It's a great place, you should definitely check it out. And today's wine is a Greek wine, Greek white wine, Salepos. Let's do our little traditional tasting.
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's super good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Fuller body, but yet very light.
Yeah, you know things about wine. I'm just like, it's wine, you drink it, it tastes good. So my first question for you is, which of these songs is your favorite?
It's really, really hard to decide that because each one of these has so many great, beautiful qualities. I would definitely have to say By Your Side, but this piece in particular, I think is just so gorgeous. It is one of his 5 pieces that he actually wrote on the front line.
Yeah, it's written during the Battle of Somme.
He talks about beauty in the beginning and how it gets all kind of ripped away by death, and each of the phrases continuing after the beauty section starts with the word death.
Yes.
And it grows, and finally until the very end, I don't want to give too much away. Come see it.
Yeah.
Death, it is most grand to die, and finding comfort in death and seeing, especially being out there, seeing so much death, which we can get to later, but like just going through how this is so timeless. I feel like I really had a connection. I was on the plane the other day and finally really understood this piece and just started weeping because it's just so beauty.
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
It's sort of a tragic piece in that it's one of those interesting songs where the poem by itself has one meaning and the music kind of adds a totally different meaning to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the poem is sort of was written by a poet who was actually sort of a propagandizer for the war, and he means that last line, "It is most grand to die." I think he means that very literally, like, you should die for your country.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that Gurney sets it, it has this sort of tinge of sort of like, when it comes back again very softly, it's like it's ironic almost. Yeah, that's a good choice. If I had to pick one, not that if I asked myself my own question, I think it would have to be Tu Gratiana, dancing and singing. I think that's
that light lyricism that's just like you never know exactly where it's going to go. It's so beautiful.
And that's probably the saddest story because W. Dennis Brown, the composer, wrote. That's literally the only thing he wrote because he died when he was 19.
Yep.
But this one song, you kind of see what would have happened had he survived the war. He could have been one of the great British composers.
And the thing that I love about that is that he was such a great organist, and you can really hear that in the piano part. You can feel.
It's definitely an organ.
Yeah.
It has those big bass lines.
Exactly.
That big thick writing, and it makes it more poignant that his life was cut short because he clearly had like so much life in him. And these people in our concert, they were there. Like they're responding to something that happened in their lives.
Felt that they were going through, and you can hear it in the grit of the tonality that they do and where they go. Not that this is a wrong thing to do, but today you hear so many little motifs that pop out as a war music, not necessarily connecting to the internal emotion that provoked those feelings. You know,
Yeah.
Going through that journey of the feelings of leaving for war and the feelings of being in war and being wounded and seeing, you know, the horrific sights and everything that goes on during the downtime in between the battles. You know? I really feel that that being there is what really makes the harshness and the reality and the tonalities that we get through this music.
Like, I always thought, like, to me, the music about war that's most successful is the music that aspires to do nothing more than humanize the people involved. But what it can do is it can, you know, show what soldiers are feeling, make you realize that the people who fight wars are humans who you know, are just like you and me, or you know, they're real.
Pull it down in those
people.
real experiences, and
that's, I think, a little more successful, and I think that's why the music we're doing is very successful.
Right. It dives right into that every aspect, from the good, from the happiness of it too. You know, from the other piece of the journey that we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's talking about the beauty of, you know, hearing that Mother's Cradle song in the very beginning. And you know, we do have the happiness, but we do have the sadness of, because there was such a change to the modern era. And you know, especially in Britain, they really wanted to hold on to their old sound.
You know, these composers' lives were turned completely upside down.
Exactly.
By everything they knew, everyone knew, and I think it's hard for us to know that now. Like, I don't think very few things can happen in our lives that can so radically change how we live day to day, the way that World War I changed so radically how, you know, this generation lived. But these composers, more than a lot of other composers, captured a sort of zeitgeist, captured like the sort of spirit of the time.
I very much think it's universal, you know, especially Gurney. He felt all the means of depression which came through in this music, I think, and you know, we're still facing all those same, you know, human emotions that were then.
There was a sort of sense of nobility in war, and a sense of nobility in dying for your country. And then when they got to the trenches and they saw this heart, and they saw that, like,
they didn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, they saw that nothing was getting accomplished by this. It was just sort of senseless violence. That whole worldview, and then that makes it, and then that in turn makes it like, well, if our death is meaningless, does that mean our life is meaningless too? That's a very heavy thing.
Our death is meaningless to our country too. You know? I mean, not exactly meaningless to the country, but if they're just putting us here for this senseless act, why continue on? You know. So
each generation kind of has to have a moment where it becomes disillusioned with with the things that were set up by the past generations.
Exactly.
And sort of start anew, as it were. Well, it looks like I'm almost done with my glass.
I am halfway there.
So we'll do it in the outtakes. We'll finish the wine.
Perfect.
But, so everyone should come November 6th, Old Stone House, Britannica, Part 2 in Memoriam. You can hear Jarrett. 5 tickets left, so we're serious. Probably by the time you see this, there'll be less than that. So if you want to go, we strongly encourage you to buy your tickets at broadwayfortickets.com. You can check us out at www.brooklynartssongsociety.org. Like us on Facebook. Our Twitter is @BrooklynArtSong. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, where we're going to be discussing Ralph Vaughan Williams and Gerald Finzi for our December concert. Thanks for watching.